la derecha y en la parte de este tercer episodio se estuvo comiendo en reiteradas ocasiones el jab y el recto.
Y bueno, pues aquí repasamos estos momentos de apremio para la mexicana, como observamos aquí.
Now, obviously, we all know about the recent events that have happened at the Olympics, and that's what we're going to be delving into today. Now, mainly, look, I think it's important that we get a perspective from like the very beginning of it. So I've got 3 different videos that we can dissect for you today, and we're going to do it together, okay, people? And afterwards, I'd love for you to jump in the comments and let me know what you think. So please, let's get into this right now. Once again, this is Truth is Truth. Don't forget to smash the like button. And if you're new, please subscribe. Trying to get on the road to 500. Not even there yet, people. So please get involved. Thank you very much. Now, this video is shout out to MTR, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews. He's one of the guys that I watch quite regularly on YouTube. And if you like subject matters like this and male improvement, he's one of the guys to go and check out on YouTube because he's very good with social matters. So with that being further said, let's jump into this video right now. You know what? Let me get rid of this. Let me get rid of this overlay so you can see everything quite clearly. Let's go.
Y'all are not going to believe this, or maybe you will, depending upon your thoughts and or opinions post Olympic opening ceremony. But boxers, 2 of them, who failed gender tests at the World Championships have been cleared to compete at the Olympics. Insane. There goes pictures of the 2 she-fellows. To be honest, I don't know how to refer to them. Regardless, let's go into the article. The International Olympic Committee has confirmed that 2 boxers who were disqualified from the World Championships last year for failing gender eligibility tests will be allowed to fight in Paris. Iman Chelif of Algeria and Ling Yu Ting of Chinese Taipei, Taiwan, both start their Olympic campaigns this week. Khalif will meet the Italian Angela Carini in the 66 kg category, and Lin is expected to face an unnamed opponent in the 57 kg category on Friday. So the Algerian person is facing definitely a woman, and they don't know the opponent yet for Lin is what this looks like. The IOC's decision will be controversial, with the former world champion Barry McGuinness expressing his unease. In a post on Twitter, he wrote, "It's shocking that they're allowed to get this far. What is going on?" I could tell you how it's gotten this far. Years of this being unchecked, complemented by this feminist movement, which pushes equality of genders outside of looking at people and determining, this person shouldn't be competing against women. This person has the anatomy, the parts of a man, and should not be competing in combat sports with a woman. And also, progenitors of this movement within LGBTQ are deeply embedded into media. So this has continued to spread without being checked. The situation has arisen because the World Championships last year was run under the auspices of the International Boxing Association, whose president, Umar Kremlev, told the Russian news agency the DNA tests had proved that they had XY chromosomes and thus were excluded from the sports events. Okay, so these people are intersex. That DNS had proved that they had XY chromosomes. If you have an XY chromosome, you're male, and thus were excluded from the sports events. The IBA told The Guardian that it had made a decision following a comprehensive review, and it was intended to uphold the fairness and integrity of the competition. Since then, the IBA has been banned from running the Olympic boxing tournament in Paris because of long-running questions surrounding the governance issues and a series of judging scandals. That means the boxing in Paris is now being run under the auspices of the IOC's Paris 2024 boxing unit. Okay, that explains it. Because this boxing unit is going to have much more relaxed rules than the IBA. They're so relaxed, in fact, that they haven't even considered their chromosomes. I would imagine here their argument would be that they are intersex and they identify as a woman. Coming up.
Now, guys, what I would like to show you is, you know what? Shout out to MTO again for giving us such a good explanation of what's happened. But in my opinion, do you know what I do believe? Look, let me just say this right now. Look, in my humble opinion, I do believe that it's really hard because when you're born intersex, it's not your fault that you have both X and Y chromosome. But I do think there comes some point where you have to just accept reality. Yeah. If you go through male puberty, you therefore cannot compete in female competitions. It's just that simple. I don't understand why it's hard to understand. Like, it should be something that's so simple to get. Look, I'm not gonna keep doing this and making up noise and blah 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 and whatever. But if you can't understand as a human being that if you go through male puberty, you get the strength of a man, and then you have the ability to seriously damage or impair women's sports, then you shouldn't be involved in sports. It's just that simple. I look, please, let's keep the integrity of female sports pure. Like, let's keep it fair. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're just gonna let anybody who say that they identify as a woman compete against natural women, then we're gonna really have a problem when it comes to female sports. And look, this next clip from MTR as well also highlights how, look, it's the same boxer that we're talking about, right? The Algerian who competed before in a different competition before the Olympics and completely destroyed someone else, right? So let's take a look at that right now, because this will show you why the Italian quit so soon. She knew what she was in for. The minute she felt the first hit, she knew, no, I'm not doing this. I'm out. I'm not getting beat up like the last person did. Because, like MTR says, that clip also went viral after they found out that this Algerian person would be competing in this Olympics. So please take a look at this and tell me if this is something fair and if you'd want your daughter, mother, sister, cousin, anybody to go through. So
Kelly, que se está llevando la contienda ahora en las repeticiones, el golpe de impacto. Sí, sí, sí. Se vio claramente de nueva cuenta el recto, combinación hasta 5.
Yo, what kind of man goes into a sport to punch women? Okay, look at her. She wants no more. She feels the power. She realizes the difference.
Look at her face. That's what I'm saying. You could tell that she just wants to leave. Oh my God. I actually feel bad just watching this, but you guys have to see the reason why the Italian just, the Italian lady who was competing the other day, they said, look, there was no point in me continuing. She saw this and saw that I don't want to go home looking like this lady from Mexico.
Alcanzó a conectar, manejándose con el jab y otra vez en la combinación ahí. En el upper, otro golpe de impacto, le van a aplicar otra cuenta de protección. Cuidado, porque si llega a una tercera ocasión es susceptible de que le detengan el pleito.
La velocidad de puños de Kelly no pudo contrarrestar lo rápido que desenfundaba tanto la izquierda como la derecha. Y en la parte de este tercer episodio se estuvo comiendo en reiteradas ocasiones el jab y el recto.
Y bueno, pues aquí repasamos estos momentos de apremio para la mexicana, como observamos aquí que le estaban dejando el guante.
Okay. Look at how are they even in the same weight class? Look at the difference here.
El botón y la esquina azul.
That is a man. Damn it, he the biggest one in there.
De Algeria.
El resultado
hell no. Look at that.
The Golden Bell Series.
Aquí está por abandono.
You can't tell me that is not a man. You know, the other chick in the red.
Do you know what, MTR? I'm not going to tell you that's not a man, because I got a picture for you, You know what? Hold tight right there. I got something for you, Now, I know you might not know who this is, just in case, there's some, and I'm not sure if MTR follows, English football, what you would call soccer in America, but he bears a hell of a lot of resemblance to someone in the UK that we know quite well called Anthony, plays for Manchester United. He looks like him, bro. Look at the resemblance. You can't tell me nothing. He's making you look at this sideways like, oh my God. She looks more masculine than Anthony that plays for us. Tell me she doesn't. She looks like she could be up Anthony. She looks like Anthony's older brother. Anyway, do you know what? Let's continue, yeah? Let's not get distracted. Do you know what? I think MTR does mention a good point. It says that he should have hit him in the balls and see what happened then, innit? Yeah. You know what? Yeah. Just give him a low blow and find out what kind of person they really are, innit? If they win, then you know what time it is. MTR was right. MTR was right. But look, and you know, that was his first video and it was well produced. And he did also look, I'm gonna let you watch a part of MTR's other video that he did, right? Where in turn he spoke about what it's like for women to actually compete against men at the highest level. Do you know what I mean? Is it something that should be done? I'll tell you this right now. My opinion on the situation is, look, if they want to have exhibition fights, you know, where women are competing at the same level as men in terms of weight class, then let them sign a contract and let them do it. But you know, everything has to be agreed. Don't let it be a thing where it's a normal thing that's done. Do you know what I mean? But like I said, you can't have men competing in women's sports because then, or trans women competing in women's sports because they will simply just take over that sport. That there is no doubt in my mind that that's what will happen. We've seen it time and time again, whether it be running, track and field, whether it be boxing, whether it be UFC, whether it be, you know, mixed martial arts, contact sports for one, and non-contact sports. Sorry, I would have to say, sorry, contact sports is something that men and women, biological born men, should not be competing with against women because it's just an unfair advantage that you have the minute you've gone through puberty. And there's almost no reversing that permanently. Do you know what I mean? So let's not try and pretend that there won't be some sort of residual edging, some sort of residual strength left, some sort of residual testosterone left behind with no matter how much hormone treatments you have. You're still going to be slightly stronger than a natural born woman. But with that being said, look, let's have a look at what MTR had to say about this a while back. Actually, this is an old video that he went back into on the same video. So let's just have a look at this right now and see what you think as well, okay?
Who was really the best in the world. Nobody wanted to fight Lucia Riker. So she was sparring with guys. I mean, she was probably the best female boxer ever. And nobody knows who the hell she is.
Women fighting men is a very popular topic in combat sports.
Indeed.
Years ago, media reported that Ronda Rousey could beat Floyd Mayweather in a fight.
Y'all bugging.
Today, there are still a lot of speculations that Amanda Nunes could beat male champions. Well, this is literally the best female fighter of all time. And she actually fought a man. Nicknamed the Lady Tyson, Lucia Riker is a woman who conquered the world of kickboxing and boxing. During her reign across two sports, the media dubbed her as the most dangerous woman in the world. She hit so hard that in a sports science show, her punches exceeded the force of a male fighter by 200 pounds.
Hold up.
A seasoned trainer who got hit by her and another Olympic male boxer said he couldn't tell the difference. When tested against Houston Alexander, a light heavyweight MMA fighter,
I was gonna rag on it at first because it looked like he threw like more of a straight punch, and then she threw a hook, which would have more torque behind it, which had more force behind it. But it looked like on the second one,
who got hit by her and another Olympic male boxer,
it was a very similar.
Tell the difference.
Yeah,
he threw the hook that time.
I was thinking the same thing.
A light heavyweight MMA fighter.
I remember him. He fought Kimbo
just as hard as him. Yes, this makes her one of the hardest hitting women of all time.
Crazy.
Widely regarded as the greatest female boxer of all time, Lucia was undefeated in all her 54 fights with women. In kickboxing, she had 37 fights and 4 world titles. Most of her fights were won by knockout. In boxing, she had 17 fights with 2 world titles. 14 of her fights were by knockout. But what happened when she fought against a man?
Skill.
Let's see.
Fight fans, welcome back to another episode of Striking Breakdowns. In this episode, we explore how the best female fighter was defeated by a male fighter. This special event took place when Lucia Riker already had 4 world titles in kickboxing. Training with the legendary Vos Gym from the Netherlands, her corner included the great Ernesto Hoost. By the time of this fight, Lucia ran out of kickboxing opponents, and her trainer suggested it could be a good idea to fight a man.
which is absolutely brilliant marketing strategy, but the wrong time, the wrong decade, rather, because this trans woman information and news hadn't reached this level and degree as it is right now. So it didn't get the necessary media attention, because even with this happening, none of us even know about it, right?
Her opponent was
That's
Somchai
true.
JD,
That's true. I'll give you
an
that.
amateur fighter in Australia.
This is the first time I heard
He had a
about it by
total of
watching
14
this.
fights and was a local amateur champion.
That boy ready.
The first round was closely contested, but Somchai landed the cleaner power shots. He even knocked Lucia's head back with a big cross. The Thai also swept Lucia multiple times, once with a teep, another with a roundhouse, and then once inside the clinch. Somchai didn't look like he had better technique, but he was clearly faster and more powerful. Lucia was also able to sweep Somchai once, and for most of the round, she was the one pressing forward with aggression. Overall, Somchai covered the long range much more effectively than Lucia. This was important for him to be a sniper, allowing him to land clean shots without a response. It's obvious here that it wasn't the technique that made the difference. It was the power and speed. In the second round, it was clear that Lucia wanted to overwhelm her opponent and tried to steamroll him. She was able to put Somchai onto the ropes and start swinging. After landing several big punches, she had her opponent cornered. But that's when he started swinging back, landing a left and right hook with an uppercut that sealed the knockout.
She sleep.
Bow.
The fight was immediately called off, and the trainer came in to cradle Lucia. It was a courageous showing by the best female fighter of all time. After this sanctioned exhibition fight, Lucia would go on to be trained.
Well, look, there you go, right? Look. There you have it, right? Look, I'm not trying to be rude to women trying to fight men. Look, it's okay if you want to do it as an exhibition. Just obviously get prepared to be knocked out. Be prepared to get knocked out is what I should say. But it is what it is. Yeah, you cannot always have it both ways. Yeah. One thing I would say though is that if we're gonna have these things if we're gonna have trans women, trans athletes in general are going to want to compete, right? Fair enough. It's only natural. If you're an athlete, you're going to want to be able to compete. But I hold steady this opinion. They should have their own category in terms of competing. Trans men against trans women, it doesn't matter who or what gender you were. It's a gender fluid category. That's what it should be. So therefore, there will be no argument. You know, you're born a man, born a woman. If you want to be trans women sports, trans men sports, or mixed, whatever you want it to be, that's fine. But I don't think you should be affecting the records of natural born women or natural born men. That's my opinion. Yeah, because then you're entering a gray area, which then becomes almost unfair. Now, this one was shot just after the fight. Yeah, so this was shot a couple of days ago, and this is a shout out to Shaun Jones. He's got a great channel as well. He covers lots of fighting topics, covers a lot of boxing, covers some MMA more recently as well, and I really do like his stuff. Go check him out as well. Shout out to Shaun Jones. Also, I'll leave a link to his channel in the description, so you can go and check that out. But hey, check this video out for him right now.
I'm angry. Guys, it's happened. Yesterday's video, we talked about this person on the left. So this here is a female boxer, but she failed a gender eligibility test last year due to having elevated levels of testosterone, most likely because this person is intersex. But she is still benefiting from the elevated testosterone levels. She battered a woman a couple of years ago in 2022, and that's what yesterday's video was about. Her actual fight within the Olympics was today, and it just went down, and this was the result. She won by first round stoppage in the first 46 seconds. She made her opponent, Angela Carini, quit, and Angela's being really upset about it. She's been in a few interviews, crying, saying that this intersex person punches too hard, and it's an absolute disgrace that this is allowed to happen within the Olympics. Now, for the 1% of people who defend this and go, oh, they're not trans. If they pass the tests, they should be allowed to compete. No. Let me give you the brief.
Well, that's the thing, though. Did they pass the test? No, they just went to a different governing board. Well, the governing board changed, and therefore they were allowed to compete.
Of what's happened. So the intersex person Iman failed the gender eligibility tests in 2023 under a different governing body. However, because the Olympics is happening in Paris, and you know what Paris is like, it's the woke capital of Europe. They're using a different governing body called the IOC, and the IOC haven't done the gender eligibility tests on this Iman. Instead, what they've said is, well, on a passport it says she's a woman, so let's go with that. She should be allowed to compete. Well, she's got balls inside her. She's obviously got some sort of sexual disorder, which, by the way, if you've got that going on, that's fine. There's no issues with that. Obviously, you can't help that. You are born like that. Fair play to you, whatever. But she's got elevated levels of testosterone. She was tested. It was either in 2022 or 2023, and she was found to have male chromosomes. He has been, it's a she, he, because they are intersex. We'll say they. For the first time on this channel, we'll use gender neutral pronouns. I don't know what to say anymore. They have been through male puberty. That's confirmed. And also, if you think, oh, this is just a one-off situation, no, there's another they, them competing tomorrow from Thailand. So for anyone out there defending this, I'd like to see what type of man you are, because ultimately women lose, regardless if it's a man transition.
You've been going over that fight with Shaun as well in a minute, so stick with me, all right, guys?
Into a woman and then competing in women's sports, or whether a woman transitions into a man and competes with the men, or it's an intersex competing with men or women. Women just lose overall, and if you're a man with anything about you, you'd want to protect our women, and that's not being a simp or a white knight. That's just part of being a man. It should be intrinsic and natural within you to feel somewhat outraged about this. This right here is Angela Carini. She's the girl who has just lost to the intersex person. Now, I can't really show any footage. I can't even find any of the footage online, probably due to copyright purposes. So we've got to be very careful with what we show on this channel. But
once again, though, I do want to say, I think that the Italian lady here, she done the right thing, because you know what? Shout out to Angela Carini, because I honestly believe if she had stayed in there, she would have been just as messed up as the last person who fought them.
There is some footage that has surfaced of the match and the final combination, the finished Angela Carini, and we'll show that now. So here is the short clip of the finishing sequence. So this is the end of the fight. As we say, the fight was only 42 seconds. We can't find a full fight anywhere, maybe just because it's a brand new story, or maybe just because of copyright purposes. So watching this video of mine does not replace watching the original fight or the original work whatsoever. This falls into fair use. So on the left, we have Iman, and how ironic is that, by the way, being called Iman, and then you are an actual man. Should be called...
I'm not being funny, but I've been calling her Iman the whole time. Iman. Her name is Iman. His name, whatever their name. Iman.
Called He-Man. And on the right, we have Angela Carini from Italy. And that was actually the finishing sequence. Now, it might not look like that big of a deal, but when we watch the punch from a different angle, you can see that it's actually quite a significant blow. All right. Boom. And here's another angle right here. So she throws the right hand. Bang.
Oh, her jaw turned. Do you know what? That force in her neck, she felt that. She knew that, no, she couldn't take a couple more of those. She watched that fight back, and she knew.
Twists her head round. That was one of those punches as well where Angela was like, okay, I'm all right. Let me just try and bounce around a little bit. I'll be fine. But then the pain set in, and then she was like, nah, I don't want this smoke anymore. At the end of the day, regardless of what you say, oh, she was born a female. Yeah, but she's intersex. If you're failing a test to say that you are a woman, and the test is basically saying you're a man, you've got male chromosomes, and you've got the testosterone levels of a man, right? You should not be allowed to be in there with other women. And look at the face on this one. Look, that makes me angry, the way he's like, bragging, boasting. We seen that in the fight yesterday. He was walking forward with no care in the world for what was coming back at him, because he knows that he can probably take bigger punches.
Do you know what? I'm going to stop Shaun right there, yeah, because you know what? It's true. Yeah, it's true. The strutting around from him, her, they, it was a little bit arrogant at times, because you kind of got the air of they knew they weren't going to get hurt in the fight, and that's bad. I mean, sometimes, okay, you know, two men will go in the ring and they'd be like, okay, yeah, I'm not afraid of you, I'm not afraid of you, but, you know, each person knows they can get hurt. And yes, sometimes when someone's confident enough that they think they ain't never going to get hurt, but it just didn't feel right. I don't know about you, but it just didn't feel right. If you have a chance to go and watch the match, please go and watch it back, because you can see what I'm saying. Yeah, just try and get a look at it if you can. Yeah, but I'm going to stop Shaun there on this video, because I've got another video for you to check out from him, where he does, where we've checked out the fight from the, I think it's the Korean or the Asian person that fights, that's also mixed gender. Is that what you call it? I don't even know what you call it at the moment. So let's check this out and let's see what he has to say, and we can go from there. Yeah.
Looks like we've just had another man beat up a female boxer in the Olympics. If you haven't followed the story the last few days, two female boxers, or, you know, female boxers, were cleared to fight in this year's Paris Olympics despite failing gender eligibility tests last year. And this has sparked a really big debate and caused a lot of controversy. And the first fighter here in the red, Iman Khalif, she fought yesterday and finished her Italian opponent in 46 seconds. We covered this in yesterday's video, and it left her opponent, Angela Carini, really upset, and she said she's never felt power like it. But anyway, we have this other girl here on the left, and I say women loosely because we don't really know the full facts of the story just yet. Right now, this is the other girl right here, and this tweet says, another geezer beats up a woman in the Demon Olympics. Just in, Lin Yuting in the red beats female opponent Sitora Tebelokova at the Olympics in Paris. Lin was previously barred from the 2023 Women's Boxing World Championships for having male XY chromosomes. Now, here's the thing. I am in disagreement with calling this person a geezer because we don't really know what they are yet. And I know I jumped the gun a little bit, but so did everyone. Not that that makes it right, but the facts that we had were pointing in that direction. And then I was also vague, and I said that they could be intersex. They were born female, but that doesn't.
Well, I mean, when you see photos like this, it kind of makes you question, where's Anthony been? And how come I ain't seen him in a little while? I don't think you've ever seen these two people in the same place at the same time. But anyway, I digress. Let's continue.
Doesn't mean that they don't have balls inside them and benefit from the testosterone production. Anyway, here is the fight that Lin had just today, and I've got to get a little bit clever with the editing, guys, because of copyright purposes. The Olympics always block this content. I know a few people who've had copyright strikes from it, so I've got to just...
This is one of the reasons why I've just shown you these guys' videos, because you know what, I've seen a couple of people get copyright strikes, and I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to get copyright strikes as well. So that's why I'm giving everybody shout outs for using some of their material. But I wanted to go over everything.
So we can see here, Lin's in the red. That's a nice little jab there from her. Right hand counter. Nice little head movement. Yeah, dead long arms. And guys, let's be real, right? Regardless of the hormones and the gender and this and that, these two women do look like men. You have to accept that. And I'm not getting at them personally, whatever. The clean slates right now. But let's face it, they look like men. Can we all agree on that? Now, in this video, I've got a few more facts at hand as more information has been coming out about this situation. So, what do we pretty much know for certain? I've got my notes right here. So these two women, they were both born female, yet have XY male chromosomes. So straight away, even though you're born female, if you've got XY chromosomes, that does afford you an advantage. They both apparently went through male puberty, and they both have elevated testosterone levels. And
stop right there. And you see, that's what I have the problem with. Yeah, thank you very much, Shaun. Yeah, because once you've gone through male puberty, you know what the benefits are from that as a man, right? You are stronger, you are faster, you have more stamina. Everything about that is just leaning towards you cheating. Let's face it. What's different is you having all this testosterone in you and then taking tea or taking whatever type of steroids to enhance your body past that of a natural man. Is the same thing. You've surpassed a natural woman by going through the puberty of a man. It's just that simple, physically anyway. I'm not saying mentally or anything like that. I'm just talking about physically, right? And it's wrong that you could just enter a competition to dominate sports when you know that you've been through something that makes you physically stronger than a woman. But anyway, let's go back to the video.
and they have both failed the gender eligibility test in the World Championships last year, 2023. So, why are these two women now allowed to compete despite these details? The reason being is because they are within the eligibility rules of the IOC, and the IOC is the International Olympic Committee. So they're able to fight because they passed the tests, but we don't know what the eligibility rules are of the IOC. So that's the first initial little grey area. So a lot of people are putting together the argument of, well, they're allowed to compete, so clearly they are just women, completely normal women. However, the IOC put on a briefing this morning and they clarified what goes into the eligibility tests. Check this out.
It was an arbitrary decision taken overnight by the CEO and then subsequently agreed later. It may have had something to do with the results beforehand, not liking the results that had happened. But we don't really know. We haven't had that. And there are suspicions all the time about, or can be suspicions about people's sex. Unfortunately, it's not up to, or fortunately, it's not up to us to act on all those suspicions, because if we did, I think we would be dealing with that from now till forever.
Okay, so that's a little bit of a red flag. He said there can be suspicions about someone's sex, but that's not up to us to look into. Otherwise, we'll be dealing with that forever. That's not entirely true, though, is it? You're either man or woman, and then if you look a little bit dodgy, just send you for the test. You're not going to be testing every single person. You're probably going to be testing a handful of people, but it'd certainly wean out the scam artists, if you like. Now, here's where he talks about the eligibility requirements.
So the eligibility on this specific issue is if their national document, their passport, has them as a woman.
That's it. Okay. The eligibility for the IOC is...
Look, if you test people for steroids and stuff, why can't you test people for what chromosomes they have? It's the same amount of level of cheating that's going on, as far as I'm concerned. It's an unfair advantage. It's just that simple. Let's see what Shaun had to say.
Does their passport have them down as a woman? Which I wouldn't say is too smart, because people can be assigned different genders at birth than what they really are due to these dysfunctional sexual disorders. So basically, you could be intersex, you could have balls up inside you that are producing testosterone, and you're benefiting from that testosterone. You could have a vagina and be assigned female at birth, but you could have elevated levels of testosterone. So just for the record, these women, Iman or Imain, were born female, but there's clearly other stuff going on which doesn't make it as clean cut as that. I say it's a complicated situation. Let's see what else he says.
And just to kind of reiterate, the Algerian boxer was born female, was registered female, lived her life as a female, boxed as a female, has a female passport. This is not a transgender case. I know you're not saying that, but there has been some confusion that somehow it's a man fighting a woman. This is just not the case. Scientifically, on that there is consensus. Scientifically, this is not a man fighting a woman. Are these athletes women? The answer is yes, according to eligibility, according to their passports, according to their history. A test which may have happened overnight was a made-up test, which is new. I don't think we should give that any credence at all. If we start acting on every issue, every allegation that comes up, then we start having the kind of witch hunts that we're having now.
Now, here is some pretty decent journalism the Sky News did. I would show you the clip, but I can't for copyright purposes. So I've taken some notes on their reporting. And to be fair, they found out some good information. So now these suspicious tests he was just talking about were the gender eligibility tests taken in 2023 for the World Championships, which came under the sanctioning of the IBA, the International Boxing Association. So we have no idea what those tests were and what the results were. We don't really know what was involved in them. So, okay. But we do know that the International Boxing Association, the IBA, deemed that they didn't fit the criteria to fight, which in itself isn't exactly too comforting, is it? But what is strange is they have fought at IBA-sanctioned events as female boxers prior to 2023. So that's what doesn't make sense. Now, this is where it gets a little bit complicated. There's political beef going on. So the IBA and the IOC have got beef. And just to clarify, the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, the people who are running the Paris Olympics right now, and the IBA, the International Boxing Association, that's who we're talking about. These two sanctioning bodies, they've got beef And as far as I'm aware, this is from Sky News, there's videos online of certain representatives of the IBA mocking the IOC president. Okay, I haven't seen these videos, but apparently so. And then in 2019, the IOC suspended the IBA from sanctioning events at the Olympics. Now, the boxing at this Paris Olympics is being ran by an independent IOC boxing committee. Now, the IBA is not allowed to be involved due to suspicions around corruption, financial regulation, and the IBA also has certain ties to Russia. Russia's banned from competing in this year's boxing Olympics. So make of that what you will, but there's a lot of politics going on between these two sanctioning bodies. The sanctioning body that previously didn't let these two women fight, and then the sanctioning body that's actually letting them fight now. And then you've got these two women whose gender eligibility is in question in the mix of it all. The way I look at this, best case scenario is you've got a couple women stepping in there who are afforded natural advantages in terms of being born with male chromosomes, going through male puberty, and then having high testosterone levels. Now, does that mean that they should not be allowed to compete if they are super legit female? I don't know. I'm not sure. If we take a look at Emain Khalif here, she's got 37 wins and only 5 KOs. So it's not like she's going in there and absolutely starching people. And then we've got this guy here, 41 wins and only 1 KO and 14 losses. So we're not talking about boxers who are absolutely stomping the way through the female division. I'm still seeing a lot of people report that these are trans athletes. That's not true, but it's definitely a complicated situation. It's not just clear cut, like, oh, they're women, and then that's it, argument over. There's definitely weird stuff going on. You take a look at them, they look very masculine, high testosterone, failing gender eligibility tests. So what do you guys think? Comment your thoughts down below. To all my...
Thank you, guys. You know what? One thing I would want to say is shout out to Shaun Jones again. You know, one thing I would like you to do is go and check out his channel. The link will be in the description below afterwards. But one thing I do want to get into, if you heard what he said there about the win ratio of both of these athletes, it's not like they're blowing anybody away in terms of knockouts and stuff like that. So maybe we do need to look into the fact of, you know, trans athletes and intersex athletes are two different things. Yeah. But the level of testosterone does have to define if you should be competing against women or not. Look, it's not a very easy situation to be talking about, especially when it comes to intersex people. It's been something that's been around since the dawn of time, that situation. The trans thing's a little bit more newer. But when you talk about intersex people that are born intersex, it's not their fault per se. So when they choose to be a certain gender, they literally just have to choose. And well, sometimes in the case they literally have to choose. But what if you are getting benefits of testosterone, and if you've gone through male puberty, this is something that really needs to be considered by all sporting committees, not just the Olympic Committee. But Olympics, I think you need to take a look at yourself about what's happening right now and think if you're actually crediting or doing yourself any good. Are you doing women athletes a good service right now? Or are you discrediting yourself by letting intersex people compete against natural females? Because if they're getting benefits of testosterone and have been through male puberty, I think that's wrong. And that's the truth. Please make sure you hit that like button. Please make sure you subscribe if you're new. And also, guys, share this to someone who you think might be interested in it, okay? Take care of yourself and each other, all right? Peace.